Welcome to Dunhill.
Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel dedicated to all things smartwatch on the web at smartwatchticks.com. I have a LEMFO box. Man, LEMFO, like every other watch I'm reviewing, is a LEMFO these days. We're going to take a look at the LF3, but before we do that, I want you to see something I haven't seen before. On the bottom of the box, in the corner, check this out. It's like a paper hologram. You see it reflecting in the light. It's a verification for genuine goods. China is verifying that it's not copyrighted or stolen or plagiarized or copied another design. The LEMFO label says that you can scratch for a verification code if need be to certify that what's in this box is a LEMFO smartwatch. Wow! I have not seen that before. Well, congratulations, LEMFO, and welcome to the world of what you call tech secret protection capabilities and prevention of fraud and counterfeit. When I open the box, I'm revealing to you an exquisite, really nice, really big, solid metal back, sides, front, Android standalone smartwatch phone. This one's the LEF3 and directly from LEMFO's AliExpress store. This thing can be ordered, can be yours. Check the show notes down below for a buying link and a discount coupon. Working with them on that to pick this thing up. You say it looks familiar? Yeah, kind of looks like a Finow watch. Could be. You want to see a comparison? It's up to you. You mention it in the comments if I get enough of you wanting to see how this one shakes up and compares to the Finow similar watch. I'll do that for you. But for now, we're going to run through a quick review to show you we're looking at a 4G watch, as they all are nowadays. The LTE 4G circuitry and antennas are in them. It's a 1 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte watch with an unfortunate 2 megapixel camera in the era of 5 megapixels standard and 8 megapixels showing up on some of the LEMFO watches. Well, it's, for casual shots. It's not going to be a screaming camera for you. These are the basic specs pulled right off of their sales sheet just to show you. It's a good sized battery. They say over 450 milliamp hour. They're usually around 500, 600 in these watches. Standard 1.39 inch, 400 by 400 pixel screen. And yes, it does do the always on screen thing. We'll show you that in a minute, but first the rest of the box reveals a charging dock. So this one's going with the dock. It has a little pin with the protectors and it goes right there. And of course, you're gonna peel off the back, right, and take that thing off. And you're gonna peel off the little plastic cover on the front as well and not leave all that stuff on there when you get yours. Wanted to wait to do that to show you. There's no extra cover on the sensor. As you saw, there was a hole in the plastic, and you can charge it with that plastic on. But because it's a solid metal back, you don't really have to worry about sweat doing anything on this watch. It's going to be nice back here. And the bands, well, they're this combination of TPU on the bottom to help prevention of sweat absorption and leather on the top. Yeah, nice set of holes all the way along. It's gonna be better for a large arm. Just gotta be honest with you. When you strap this thing in, it's gonna look relatively big. I'm a medium-sized guy, and it's starting to look good size on me. So I wouldn't say it's a lady's watch or a thin-wristed person's watch. It is large. We'll turn it on in a minute, and I want you to check the bezel out as well. Or the screen actually inside of here. We've got a tiny little tool here that's an odd screwdriver thing, which we presume is meant for taking off. Where do you put the SIM card in it? I don't know. Is it underneath here? No, the speakers are there. Is it underneath here? No, it's not there. You know what? You got to take the whole back off of this. That's characteristic of Finow watches as well. And this one looks very similar to another one. of Finals. Yeah, I'm not mentioning the brand name either. But we'll do a comparison if you guys want to see. This is your standard micro USB. It could be the same thing that plugs into your phone, as long as you don't have the new C version. But you're going to take this and plug it into the side here on the charging dock and put the dock on the watch, and that's how you're going to charge this thing up. Yeah, there's a wire out. If you don't like the dock idea, there is a wire available. Where did I see that before? Maybe you'll end up getting a wire from one company and a dock from the other, and you'll be all set. There's a screen protector for those of you into plastic. You watched The Graduate, right? That was the big advice for The Graduate. Plastics, young man, plastics. Always need plastics. We have a manual here with a pretty color picture on the front. Doesn't say what model it is or anything, so it could basically be used by anybody for any reason. I'm going to go up, down. I'm not sure how it goes, but you can freeze frame it and move them around as necessary. It is giving you a little bit of information there. User's manual for Smartwatch, what comes with it, and charging information about the camera, weather. Yeah, it's got the weather thing going on in it. It is running Android 7.1.1, so that's good. We've seen that operating system many, many times now. And the ambient always time display that we're mentioning is the black and white version, you know, where you get the analog watch face, the one that the Collins family designed an actual watch face just like that anybody could install on their particular watch. Well, that's the one that shows up in the ambient screen mode. It's not the new generation that's just around the corner coming out of dual processor watches, where there's supposed to be a color version of that always time display. That's not this, but this is like a bunch of the others we've reviewed already that have that capability. This is all Chinese on that side, and I've already opened it up. I've already installed a bunch of apps, so I'm not going to waste any time at all. I'm pressing the button to turn it on, and as it comes up, you'll notice something about the screen. It looks like it went through the dryer on high, doesn't it? It like shrunk. It used to fit. It fits in the pictures in the advertisement. Why in the heck? I don't know, folks. It's always that way when... Oh yeah, sound is on and loud. When you always look at the ads, discount the photoshopping of the screens that fill the whole thing. There's very few edge-to-edge watches out there that do all of that stuff. Yeah, it's a small screen, and it's the same as the one we've seen from Finau, and live with it is all I could tell you. They have not perfected the ability to make this screen go full width. I want to get you to a watch face where you can really see that, a bright one, edge to edge. That's the edge of the screen with a big bezel around here. Now, some people really don't like the flat tire at the bottom, but you know, the exchange for having a flat tire at the bottom is they don't have to put the electronics all around the edge, so the screen can go all the way out, and that works really well. Well, anyway, let's get into this thing. We're running Android 7.1.1, which, as we're all familiar with, you can slide down to get to a row of goodies up here. The first of which shows you your power level, date and time, whether you're connected to your phone with Bluetooth, and if you have a SIM card in, it's going to give you information here about your cellular. Here you've got a bunch of things. The first one is your sound, on or off. You can turn it into quiet mode, you see, by activating that one. This is typically your brightness level. However, I'm running that special app I talk about in most of these Android watches called the brightness slider over here. Display brightness, see the percentage sign changing? And I love this thing because it floats all over whatever you're running, and including the watch faces, and you can adjust the brightness. It's not in the Google Play Store anymore though, unfortunately. But I do have an archive copy of it for you if you want to download it and use it. The link for that will be in the show notes down below. But otherwise, you would press this and you'd have low, medium, and high as the brightness control on it. You also probably see that little dot floating over here. It's called Floating Toucher. That's another app that I use that will pop up a kind of a floating launcher on top of the screen where you can access all kinds of different things, like all of the apps on your watch, whatever you're looking for there. And that also is no longer in the Play Store. And again, that same link will take you over if you want to download that and install it on your Android watch. But I'm walking through the features here. So we have the sound. I'll turn it back off so we can have sound. Your brightness. This is the twist the wrist to see the time function that you can have on or off. Airplane. This is cellular data. And this is location services that activates GPS. This is Bluetooth. When you're tethered to your watch, phone, you want to have that turned on. Otherwise, keep it off. And that's Wi-Fi. And same thing here. If you're going to be on a Wi-Fi network, turn it on, but otherwise turn it off. Turn off all the radios you don't need if you want to get longer battery life. So that was the second panel. Third one is kind of a master cleanup kind of a thing. Again, this is all straight Android 711. We've seen this before. A music player that will play onboard music, and you can increase or decrease your volume all the way up 15 different levels, I believe. And then you have weather. Once you sync it and you're on Wi-Fi or cellular, you've gotten a connection so it knows where you are with location services. Boom, you update that and it'll show you your weather in both centigrade and Fahrenheit these days, which is really nice. So that's the top level. When you swipe up, you get into a step count level. This is your weekly average. I haven't used it yet right out of the box and set up a little bit. We've got step count, kilometers walked, and calories burned based on that step count. And then on here, you'll have little bar charts weekly of your progress. Okay. Then if you go to the left, you'll get notifications pushed to you from your phone if you have any waiting for you, as long as you're tethered. When you go to the right, you get into the app drawer, and if you go to the right again, you don't go anywhere. Now, some versions of 711 Android, you go to the right and you'll get into a fitness area. In this one, you have to actually come down to where you see the fitness. Wow, there it is. And when you go in here, you get this area, and this is the fitness that otherwise you would get to if you slide to the right, but it's not implemented on this type of a watch. One of the things we like to check is whether or not when you're doing runs and walks and cycling, whether it ties in with GPS to give you that data or not. That's kind of a discriminating factor. So let's initiate an outdoor walk, and I'm going to press the button, and see how it just says go. You can set your target duration, your target distance in kilometers and calories burned, but we're not going to set any of that. We're just going to hit the button. Okay, check it out. It's giving us a notice. It says open location services for high precision. That means, yes, this watch will interface with GPS to calculate your distance, and that's awesome. So if you get that, it says go to setup. You want to turn this on. It's high accuracy. You agree to this stuff about location, and in previous versions you turned it off. You say yes to turn it back on again. You swipe to get out of here. Now when you activate it, it's going to actually be doing its calculation using GPS. You'll know if you're active yet or not by whether this is flashing. You see the little blue flashing here? That's your distance indicator, and if it's flashing, it means it has not yet acquired GPS. When it does, it'll be solid. So the trick is to try and get your location services set and active and linked before you start. Otherwise, you're wasting seconds because it's not going to actually calculate your distance. It's getting my heart rate now. I got my finger over the sensor in the back, and of course it'll compute your calories, and all these other kind of things will happen with the overall fitness. Now, we've covered fitness many times on all the other different kind of watches, so just giving you an overview on this one. That's a typical example. You can save or discard that one, and these are the kind of pieces of data that are collected if you're doing a walk or a run. And of course, you got all these other different sports, indoor runs, which Of course, the indoor doesn't use GPS. It's not going to be calculating any distance. Bike riding, really important for bike riding because you really don't have a good way of getting distance. You're not getting a step count from a pedometer with your body going up and down. So you really need to have a watch that will interface with GPS for bike riding. Now these other things, basketball and football and ping pong, these sports, they're just going to calculate an estimate of your calories burned versus time. They're not going to give you much more than that, and your heart rate, because there's really nothing more it can give you. There's no distance involved in it. And that's all of the stuff related to the fitness. So we may as well kind of continue on down this path of looking at the apps. We've got your basic contacts, phone, and messaging, which ties to the SIM card. You hear the birds outside? It's spring. Yeah, you can make phone calls and do messages, but you need to have a SIM card installed. Because this is Android 7.1.1 on this and all these other similar watches, you do not yet have Bluetooth calling. So you don't have the calling capability to tether to your phone and make calls using the SIM card in your phone. That's coming, we understand, but it's not here yet. You have to buy, believe it or not, an older Android watch running 5.1 Android or maybe Android 6 and get your Bluetooth tethering that way. The newer watches, as wonderful as they are, don't support that. Overall settings are pretty much the same. You've got sound and display, and remember, check the display in here and see if you've got these last two items on any Android watch. You want to make sure it has that always time capability. You know what that is. When the screen goes off, and otherwise it would be black, what it'll do is come back in a display that looks like this. It's an analog watch with the time. And there, because my hand is up, it switched back to the live screen. Now it went out and it's going back into ambient. I'm holding it at just the right spot for it to do that. So you can see it flipping back and forth. If you have that feature turned off, you do not get this screen. It goes completely black, which is great at night. You don't want it having it flashing or at the theater. So you do have in the settings that option to turn that off in display. Just turn it off and it won't be on there. And then this notification bright screen will allow the phone to wake up. Basically, if you get a push notification from your phone, it will brighten the screen so that you're aware that you just received a notification. Eats a little bit of extra battery. Both of those do. Turn them off if you're really trying to stretch your battery out. The app listing style is whether it's an arc or round. You can show your apps in a circle if you want to, like that, page after page. See that? Or with the time in the middle. For me, it's easier for these reviews to keep them in an arc because then they're linear like this and it's easier to go through and not miss any of them. Your connection for Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi hotspot. Yes, you can put this in a hotspot, but it's going to eat a lot of battery power. And of course, your phone service has to support hotspot mode. But if you're in a pinch, you can make this, if you've got a SIM card in it, make it a hotspot, meaning you could take your tablet or your computer, connect to the internet through your watch over the cellular. It's pretty cool, very cool idea. But remember, you're not going to have very much time to do it because it does eat the battery a lot. And you're probably not going to get 4G speeds unless you're really close to a tower. Screen on raising, that's the same thing we saw with the icon. Pedometer services, whether or not you wanted to even track your step count, you can save some battery power by turning those off. You got a whole battery savings mode in here, and using the intelligent power, it's automatically on. But note that some of your stuff in the background may not work properly if you have that on. And it's going to show you what apps have been using what power and about how much time you have left. This is at 93%, turned on 13 minutes ago, and it says I have 6 hours left. And I haven't been doing anything. So are you going to get a day's use out of these watches? I don't think so yet, unless you really are conservative. It's unfortunate, and hopefully things are coming to improve that, but not quite yet. Basic language and input, date and time, resetting your equipment. If you're going to get rid of the watch, you want to completely wipe everything out, you can do that. You can uninstall installed third-party applications right here. This is new, this quick SOS you see on some of these watches. You turn this on and you can activate it so that the SOS function will work, and in an emergency you can activate it. It will call a number, send a text to a number, all of that kind of stuff. I'm not sure on this one. It's probably you're working with pushing a button a couple of times, or it could show up when you press and hold this key. I don't think so. It's slightly implemented differently, and I haven't set this up. If that's important to you, work your way through it and you'll be able to set that up. Then you have more. More is an overall area where you have your accounts, your Google Play services. This is general for your entire Google account. So you change it here, it's going to change on your phone and everything else. There's this background cleaner now, which when you turn this on is a super battery saver, and it's already on to try to give you even more extended life. Go away, birds! Take it someplace else! Rent a room! Goodness. Third-party app adapter is another new feature that's come out. By the way, a lot of these features have been introduced by the tech community, in particular Pablo 11. He's one of the ace troubleshooters, and if you ever have any of the problems that you need help on with these watches, if they get in boot loop or locked up, great to reach out and check in with those guys and have them help you. And because of a lot of the things that they've seen in the watches, they've been able to help the folks that put the firmware together create some of these new features. This third-party app adapter helps some of the apps, especially the browsers, to render pages that are more readable on these round smartwatches. It's kind of subtle to explain it, but it's there, and you can turn that on to improve visibility and readability of third-party apps. Then you got the overall stuff about your RAM in here, notifications, app settings, and again, another data server here, which will allow or not allow unrestricted data access. Has to do now with your SIM card and your service plan with your carrier. There's a lot to talk about with these watches each and every time. Let's get in here. This is the about the watch, and this is where you find out that this is the LEF3 running Android 7.1.1 and the security patch, baseband, and kernel, and your build number. And this is where you find out particularly the kernel. Thursday, April the 18th, 2019 is the version of this one, and that's all covered in there. So that's settings. We got a few more stock apps, and then I'm going to run you through some of the testing apps, okay? Browser's your basic browser, not even going to go in that. You could put Chrome or Firefox or whatever browser you like to use. This is just a stock browser that comes with it. Downloads hardly is ever used. That's an area you could download stuff to. Your basic calendar is the monthly thing, and you can jump around day by day, but it's not your Google Calendar. You're not going to see your events and whatnot on there. Clock is where you set up alarms if you want to. Your camera now on the side is over here, and we always like to do a little bit of a camera test. Let me get my fingers going and take a picture. I can hit it just right. Wow. Okay. Hello? There, finally got a picture. I'm also going to run a little short video for you because we want to test some capabilities of the video as well. All right, we got those saved. They're right here. You can access them through the gallery or through here. Here I'm playing it. A little short video for you because we want to test some capabilities of the video as well. Nice and loud. That's one of the loudest I've ever heard. Now I want to check and see if we can zoom this thing by double tapping it. I'm going to run a little short video for you because we want to test some capabilities of the video as well. No way to really expand it, it doesn't look like. In terms of details, you can see it's HD, 1280 by 720, not FHD, 1080, 1020, whatever. It's actually the same video quality I'm shooting this video with. So if you're looking this on your camera, on your phone or on your TV or whatever, that's the quality I use because I don't need high resolution for a watch, and it's easier on editing. Anyway, that's the that one, and then here's a picture we just took, which I can get details on that, show you that that's the size of it, 1920 by 2560. Double tap to zoom, double tap to zoom more, double tap goes back, and no pinch and zoom on this. If it were, I could expand it simply by pulling on it. Once I've zoomed in, I can drag it around the screen with one finger, but I can't zoom it, which is really unfortunate. Oh well. Once you export these to wherever you're going to keep them, you can do whatever you want with them. It's just how they display actually on the watch itself is governed by this. Okay, and then of course, back to the camera. Gallery shows you all of those pictures. Music is a music player if you install music on here, different than the tethered player where you control music on your phone. The sound recorder, I thought we'd have to do that, but you just heard the sound coming out of the speaker. It's good volume and good bass. I'm impressed with the speaker. File manager, here's where you have your available memory and how much has been used. Add those together for the total amount that you've got out of your 16 gigabytes to play with. I've got a lot of stuff installed here. I've got a bunch of apps that I've installed, and I've got my clock skin folder with some custom watch faces and more. Here's the basic heart rate monitor. You saw that working when we just did the sports things, so no need to go there. Weather, I can set up different cities and activate that weather from the widgets at the top. Voice search is your OK keyword for Google that will let you do searches. Here's the Google Play Store. You set up an account on that and you can download all kind of apps like the ones I'm about to show you. Google Maps is in here. This is Assistant, not Google Assistant, but the Assistant for tethering. And this is where you can get that QR code, I guess. It doesn't even look like it here. You have to get it from the manual or from the show notes down below. You can tie into the tethering app, download the tethering app. And when you're tethered, these are all of those functions, assistant functions for using your phone, like the remote phone button and music controller for your phone. That's all in there. Then you got Google Chrome already pre-installed as well. Now, here's some of the stuff I've put in. Well, display brightness just pops in the middle of this. That's that thing here that I talked about for changing the brightness on the screen. This is still a stock app, the calculator, right? And that's just a basic calculator. Oh, look at that. It's got your standard stuff, and then it's also got, when you slide it out from the side panel, sines, cosines, and other kind of stuff. That's kind of cool. Okay, there's fitness. We went in and looked at that. This is a specialized app store that just has your basic social media type apps plus YouTube that you can download without even needing to set up the Google Play Store. So if you don't have a Google account, you don't want to do that, you still can get at least these apps. Then the AnTuTu report. We're going to run this thing quickly because I already ran the entire test before. 29097, a number to remember if we do the comparison video I mentioned at the very beginning, if you're interested in seeing how this stacks up against its peer watch. And that's AnTuTu. The floating touchers, that little dot. AIDA64, where we learn a little bit more about this watch. Jump in here quickly and show you the processor information. Is that bright enough for you? How about that? It's the LEF3 all across the board. There's your memory configurations for it. Here's a little bit more. This is on the processor, the quad-core processor information. CPU utilization. And the screens, 400 by 400, 160 DPI, standard across the board. So that's pretty basic. Setting Search, another app that's not available in the Play Store. I highly recommend installing this because you can get into a lot of the operating system that you cannot because of the firmware overlay on here. For example, accessibility. If I go into accessibility and I go into magnification gestures and I turn that on, That, folks, is going to let me triple tap to zoom in anywhere on the watch. And because the font is so small on these 400 by 400 pixel watches, unless you got good eyesight, triple tap again, 1, 2, 3, takes it down. You may sometimes need to magnify. So a triple tap will do that. A triple tap hold, and hold lets me move all over the place, left and right, to see what I can't see. Pretty nice, huh? Okay, that's in accessibility, and that's accessible through something like settings search. Again, check the show notes, jump on over, download some of these apps that aren't in the Play Store anymore if you want to play with that kind of stuff. The Google Translator is built in here. That's another stock app that comes with it. And then I put in speed tests that you could use to check the speed for Wi-Fi connection or 4G cellular. Haven't tested it yet on this watch. My prediction is you're going to most of the time get 3G out of it. But if you're really close to the tower and you have a 4G SIM and you're on a 4G network, then you'll get relatively good 4G speeds. But folks, remember, the antennas are all meshed up in here and it's much smaller than a phone. So you're never going to get really good cellular speeds like you would from even an old phone. It's just the way the technology is. So those are the apps that are installed and some of the test apps I've put in here. We've run through everything else except some of the watch faces. So let me give you a quick look through of the stock watch faces. This is one that it opens up with. That's their fancy LEMFO designed and branded face. You've got a few of these other ones. We just showed you that one. A lot of these have been available for a long time and can be downloaded from the little plus sign at the very end of the row of all of these. And now we're getting to custom watch faces. Here's a bunch that I've put in here just to give you an idea what it looks like. Lots of different sources on these. Unfortunately, the Google G Plus community went away and these aren't available through that venue anymore. So you have to hunt around to try to get them. We've got a video up that talks about follow-ups to the G Plus community. Be sure to watch that video and check all the different links underneath it if you want to download some of these different incredibly quality smart watch faces. They're available still out there, but you got to be a little bit innovative in hunting them down. Just show you a few just for fun. Yeah, great designs from a lot of our talented designers out there. All right, this is it, the LEMFO LEF3. One more time, you can pick it up directly from AliExpress, the LEMFO official store there. It is available now, and as I understand it, we're right into a real special promotion on this one. So definitely check the show notes now, because now would be the time to buy it. And if you're looking later rather than now, continue to check those show notes, because if I get coupons or advanced information on it, I'll of course include it in the information down below. Okay, wow, we whooshed right through this one. I love it. The LEMFO LEF3. You're watching Smartwatch Ticks, and appreciate your subscription and your thumbs up or likes on these videos. It helps to get more visibility propagated through the search engines, and that brings more folks interested in smartwatches, which brings more smartwatches here for you. It's all a nice closed circle. Okay, we'll see you again soon, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to get more updates.